This podcast is sponsored by RuPaul's Drag Race UK fans. Check them out on Facebook for your daily tea and daily shade. Find the link in the description below. Hi everyone, it's Craig and I'm back with another episode of God Save the Tea. We finally have the first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race UK. I cannot wait to get sunk into this episode, talk about everything and let you know what the tea is. So through this episode we're going to be going through things really quickly. We're going to be talking about the workroom entrances and mini challenges to the main stage, to the lip sync. There is a lot to go through. If you have not watched the show yet, just a word of advice, stop listening now. There is a lot of spoilers ahead. I cannot wait to get sunk into this episode. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to talk through. And guess what? I think there's someone at the door. Who's at the door? Come in.
Hey.
Hey sis, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm fab, thanks. Everyone say hello to Wilma Dickfit. So Wilma, how did you find the show last night?
I absolutely loved the show.
See, I had to watch it last night, the workroom entrances, while I was at work, because I just couldn't wait until I got home. And plus, I had to stop at the final queen, otherwise my other half would have just killed me when I got home. We're going to jump straight into it then. We're going to be discussing everything from the workroom to the entrances to the mini challenge to the main stage to the lip sync to the dresses to the looks to how they're portraying themselves. Literally everything we can cover, we are going to be covering. So we are going to be starting off with that workroom. So Wilma, what did you think of that workroom? I thought it was amazing.
I loved the set, to be honest. I mean, I do agree with you. It did seem absolutely huge. Although some of the proportions of the actual set, I was questioning, like the camera angles that they had when RuPaul was walking down the stairs. You could see Bag of Chips stood at the back, and her actual like presence on the screen was huge compared to the door. And I was like, oh, they're really like going for some weird takes with the set this year, especially like I felt like it was like a darker set, like the lighting was all darker.
Yeah, I do completely agree with you there. The angles were weird, but I don't know if it's just because the room was a lot bigger, they got a bigger studio to work for. I understand with the US that they have a block, they don't have that much space, but I do really, really love the set. Especially where the work queens walk in.
The workroom logo,
the way it goes,
where it's triangled at the bottom, and you've got the UK flag.
The UK flag
that
on the
was
back.
Absolutely
the
epic.
Dark colours
I was
in
like,
that
oh
as well.
my god, this is going to be amazing.
Pays homage to the UK, and I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. It's a massive workroom. I think it looks stunning, and the main stage, that is absolutely huge. It's like a photography thing. It's like where you're taking photos in a studio, you've got all the flashing lights there. But the judges panel, I really, really do think the judges panel looks a lot bigger than it does on US. Wilma, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it definitely was, longer, to be honest.
Yeah, because it looks like they have a lot more space between each other than normal.
Yeah, definitely. I know Michelle leaned over to Alan a couple of times, and it was like she was actually leaning. Whereas in the American show, we've seen her many times just reach over to, let's say, Todrick, who sits next to Michelle usually. But this time it was like an actual reach over to Alan. It definitely seemed more spacious.
Yeah, they weren't like that close like before where you could like wink with, nudge each other and touch each other.
Yeah.
Or they might have just gave Michelle more space because you never know. Is that bitch going to scratch someone's eyes out?
No. Yeah.
Like, who was it that sat next to her on season 11? That look, girl, that it just got me everything. The one that kept going, yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember it well.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about season 11. We are here to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race UK, the first season, episode 1. So let's jump straight into the workroom looks. So first queen up, of course, it's the one and only Bag of Chips, MBE. I better say that. I don't know what that bitch is like. She might sue me. You never know.
I know what she.
But you know what? I absolutely loved her look. I was not expecting what she was wearing, especially compared to what she wore on Meet the Queens. That look really didn't do anything for her. She was being slated for that look. But this look was coherent. The leopard print, the way it worked, everything top to bottom was brilliant.
Yeah, it was definitely an elevation from her promo look. I remember thinking myself, oh, I'm not sure on Bagger yet because of her promo look. And then this entrance look, she was the first in the room, and I thought this is just setting it up to be a great season because of we've seen it in the past in the American show where we've had the first queen enter the room and the look has been underwhelming to say the least. And I just saw this look, as you said, the leopard print, just it worked so well, and I thought it's setting up to be a great season so far.
See, the other thing as well with Bagger, you can tell it was genuine. There was no fakeness. It wasn't put on at all. But you know what? I don't know Bagger personally, but I remember following her on a TV programme, Drag Queens of London. And you know what? She showed herself there. I think it was on London TV, which was a London-based show for only people that lived in London. And she was a handful there. She was very loud, very outgoing. But do you know what? She was Bagger. She was who she was, and that's how she is. She was amazing.
Yeah.
But do you know what? From then to now, she has really elevated herself. And I really hate queens that wear flat wigs, like slick back wigs. But do you know what? That wig was absolutely stunning. The slick back platinum blonde. It's like, I don't want to say it, but it almost, not Pat Butcher, but it really gave me more Cat Slater. And do you know what? It actually worked really well with that leopard print outfit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've never been a fan of flat wigs. I don't tend to wear them myself. And when I did watch the workroom entrance for the first time, I thought, oh, I'm not sure about the flat hair, but the rest of the outfit was good. And then watching it the second time, I did actually start to think, well, it works for the look, and it does. She wears it well. The hair doesn't wear her. She is wearing the hair.
I 100% agree there. But do you know what? As with God Save the Tea, we're about spilling the tea. We're not going to do toot or boot. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do more Tea Vicar, or we are going to do next, because I want to rate these queens. The looks are brilliant. I give this one a more Tea Vicar. What about you, Wilma?
Definitely more Tea Vicar.
Lovely. Right, next up, let's talk about Blue Hydrangea. Well, I love this queen on Instagram. I absolutely love her. But, I hate to say this. The walk into the workroom was lovely. I loved the outfit. But looking at more detail, I think she could have done a lot more with it, with having that dress more cinched in to show more of her stunning silhouette. I'm not sure. What's your thoughts on it, Wilma?
I totally agree with you. I mean, at first glance, you see the flowers and you think, wow, that is an amazing dress. But then the camera moves in and you start thinking, it's not actually showing off your body. And I hate to say it, but, and I know they addressed it on the show, but she could have done with some breast padding. And I don't like saying that because it's not a necessity to look good. But I did sit there thinking, if you had have done a breast pad, it would have maybe evened out the cinching in the middle so that it worked with the hips.
Yeah, to me, it was too straight. There were certain angles where it looked absolutely brilliantly, but especially when she's sitting down with Bagger, you can see it. It looks... But you could tell she had a corset underneath, but it just needed that little bit more cinching in just to show her silhouette.
Yeah, definitely.
But overall, I loved it. I loved the way she kept to her name, like with the pale blue, the pastel blue, everything like the eyeshadow to the makeup. And when she blew the flower, I was like, bitch, that's it, that's done. But the wig was amazing. I'm not even going to question her makeup because, as she said on her VT, she is an Instagram queen. She grew up with the RuPaul queens. So she studied it like a fine art. She knew what she's doing. Her face is spotless. The makeup is perfect. So for me, that's definitely more Tea Vicar.
Yeah, I agree. More Tea Vicar from me.
Lovely. Right, next one. Oh, I am dreading this one. I won't lie. It's DDC, Davina De Campo. Well, I don't know what I can say about this queen. Do you know what? I absolutely loved her on Meet the Queens. She has one of those laughs that is absolutely and utterly annoying, and it drives me crazy. But in all fairness, I just think it's one of those laughs that is going to grate on everyone, but it's her. Put that walk into the workroom. Do you know what? I liked it, but do you know what? I'm going to be a bitch. I'm probably going to get read to filth for this, but do you know what? I don't care. It's spill the tea, let's spill the tea. But my issue with her is that she came across very cocky, very sure of herself. Yes, she's been on TV shows. It's like, I hate comparing to other queens, but she done a Willem. She really, really done a Willem on us. Didn't she? She done, I've been on this, I've been on that.
Yeah.
But bitch, the way they edited that was hysterical. The way they fast forwarded, it's like, yeah, we don't want to know. But don't get me wrong, I really do have high hopes for her. I've watched so many videos of her on All Together Now, her old YouTube videos. She is absolutely hysterical, but that look, I didn't get it. It didn't make sense. I like the fur. I think the dress would have went well, but I don't think it needed that coat.
Yeah, I think that the way that they edited between her walking in, I feel like there was some sort of reveal missing or something. So we saw her holding her coat in the middle, and I was like, oh, maybe she's nervous, maybe she's holding it for a reveal. And then in the next shot, she had the coat open and was showing the tartan dress that she was wearing. So I was like, oh, was the reveal meant to be the dress? And then I thought, oh, it's a bit not, I don't want to read her, but it was underwhelming in my opinion, because it was so overcrowded with the coat that it made me think, oh, there's a reveal coming, and then it didn't.
Hashtag blame the editing. But or was it just, would less have been more with that look? I don't think she needed the coat. I really don't. I know she was showing her aesthetic, which was the old drag versus the new drag, which, as she said in the VT, it's about what you can do, what you look like now with the new drag. But I really, really don't know with this one. I'm going to give her a halfway on this one. So we'll go with halfway Morty Vicar. But yeah, she came across really loud, but nice and lovely. Mesa coat was amazing. But I want to see more from her. I really do want to see more from her. I think she's got a lot to offer. So definitely for me, this is a halfway Morty Vicar.
I think I'm going to just say next. I didn't love the look. I know, I feel horrible saying it, because I know that she is prominent on the scene already, but I just thought this look didn't do it for me. So it's her next.
So next up is Crystal. Well, I absolutely loved this. I still don't understand the story between the name change, because when she was first rumoured, her name was Crystal Beth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. People say, oh no, she wanted to change her name. But a little bit of me thinks it has something to do with the BBC, because it's related to drugs. Our BBC no, you need to change your name? Because when she entered the workroom and introduced herself, and introduced the name and crystal, she was transparent, crystal clear. I can't remember the wording exactly. It didn't sound like something that rolled off her tongue.
Yeah.
It sounded like something she had to quickly make up. But still, anyway, a name is a name. But names don't mean bugger all, do they, nowadays? But you know what? I absolutely loved this look. It was amazing, the metallicness of it, the whole look. And you know what? The way the unit hit was absolutely classic. And I loved her tagline. What was it now? I think it was, that was it. Maybe she's worth it. Maybe it's body dysmorphia. Which that was absolutely epic. I loved that. And you know what? I'll really give it to her. There's a lot of stuff going on lately with body dysmorphia, body shaming. So I give her that for getting that out there and striking what needs to be said.
Yeah, definitely.
And the hairy chest as well. I absolutely love that. I love a queen that can rock a hairy chest. Absolutely amazing doing that. But the look, I absolutely loved this look. It all tied in very well, the whole look, the metallicness, the color coordination, you've got your greens, your blues, your purples, your shiny reds, and it all matched well with the makeup. It all coordinated. The wig, I really thought she could have done a lot more with it. It looked like a rush wig. It was very messy. It wasn't polished. It wasn't sculptured to what it needed to be.
I did enjoy the look, and I definitely agree with like the colors matching, and it was a well thought out look. However, I definitely thought the bottom half could have had some attention paid to it. So like, not even like building a skirt around it or anything, because that would have taken away from the look that it is. But adding a bit more to, like, she had the white sort of panties underneath, and even just adding some stones to that would have maybe brought it up to the next level, or even bringing some of the metallic fabric that she has on the top around to the bottom, say around the shoes and up the legs more, then maybe it would have just elevated it slightly more for me. But I did still actually really enjoy the look.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So on this look, I'm going to turn around and say that I want to see more T. Vicker. What's your thoughts, Wilma?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's definitely more T. Vicker from me.
Fantastic. So next up, of course, we have Something Wrong. I absolutely love this queen. I've been following her ever since she was rumoured to be on RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 1. And do you know what? I loved her entrance into the workroom. And I think it was something along the lines of her tagline was, "Did someone order takeaway?"
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
But it completely went with the who she is, what she's representing. But that dress, though, I will admit, I do love it. But I don't know, I'm not sure whether on whatever you want to call it, the wrap around the chiffon, I don't think it worked. I don't think it went well with it. I think it would have went well if she would have kept it the same sort of colour as the dress, like the orangey blood orange colour, if that makes sense. I think it would have blended a lot better if she had the pink flowers with the orange background. It would have stood out a little bit more. But on that note, there is one thing that I do need to bring up, and I'm probably going to get red for filth, I'm going to get shot. But girl, what was going on with that lace front wig?
Don't even, yeah.
But even, I said this to my other half, it seems like the UK version is a lot more defined with like HD. It's more up to 4K standards. So that wig line, it's going to be noticed. And bitch, it wasn't even cut straight.
No, I did find that a problem with a couple of them, though, that their wig lines weren't as polished as they should be, maybe.
Yeah, but mine stood out more for Something Wrong. It wasn't even blended. It wasn't cut straight. It was a very dark lace, and it didn't even look like she had contoured it in. It didn't look blended. You could clearly see the definition between makeup and hairline.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just the wrong wig for her. But anyway, a wig's a wig. But I did love the whole look, the necklace. I swear I've seen them somewhere, though. I don't know if I've seen them on her Instagram or if I've seen on her promo look. But I've noticed them. It might have been on Meet the Queens.
I definitely think I've seen it on her Instagram. I'm not sure about the Meet the Queens, though.
Well, anyway, with that, I love Something Wrong. I loved her workroom entrance. I'm looking forward to it. I love how her name plays on the stereotypes and victimization and bullying that she's encountered through her time, which is absolutely a strong message, and I love that. And you know what? I loved it when she was sitting at the workroom table and she used that line, "Oh, me so Sally."
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to have to say with this queen, as much as I love her, but the wig, it destroyed the illusion for me. It really, really did. So for me, this is a next to Something Wrong.
I personally, I didn't really like the outfit that much either. I mean, I understand being a queen on a budget. I mean, lots of queens nowadays are, but Something Wrong said in her VT, I am a queen on a budget, so I like to show off things that I make, and I like to make my own things. But I couldn't help sitting there thinking the shoulder jacket, whatever you want to call it, did, in my opinion, look cheaper and less elevated than the other queens. And
100% it did.
I think that brought the outfit down for me, just because you can be a queen on a budget, but you can still make it look elevated. And for a season 1 entrance, it just didn't do it for me. So it's an X from me as well.
Yeah, definitely. So right next up, we have Cheryl Hole. Well, I love this bird. She looked absolutely stunning when she walked in. The workroom look, I can't lie about this at all. I love it because I am an Essex bird myself. I have a little soft spot for her, but just that whole look, it was absolutely amazing. It all flowed in one. The fringe, it was flowing. She could lift her arms, it would follow her. The hair, it was perfect for that. I think if she would have done big hair for that, I don't think it would have pulled off as much. So having that slick back with that little ponytail that flowed down with the same direction as the fringe, it was amazing. It was spot on. It was simplistic, but she knew what she was doing. But it had been pulled together in such a way, it elevated it and made it more look extravagant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's with Cheryl Hole, she definitely knows what to wear that's still simplistic, but is still elevated enough. So, I mean, if you had have seen this look on, say, a lower budget or someone who didn't know how to style it as well, it might have seemed, oh, there's too much fringe, there's too much, it's very shaped to her body and doesn't look as good on another queen. Whereas I think Cheryl Hole definitely knows, I'm not wearing too much fringe. This fringe is enough for me. It shows off my body well, and I know exactly what hair I'm going to wear for it, and I definitely think it worked in her favour.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. I think if you'd put this dress on at anyone else, say, for example, Bagger, I don't think it would have worked the same and flown the same because, yes, the dress is made for her, so it's fitted to her, but it's fitted in such a way that it works for her, that it elevates her image and her look. But I am really, really looking forward to this queen to see what she can offer. I really am excited for Cheryl Hole. It's like, I hope she's not in the bottom that often, but if she does, I think she is going to be the lip sync assassin. Like the way she can, I've watched videos of her, death drops, jumping splits, the way she can duck, dive, twirl, whatever. She is an amazing dancer. They need to watch out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen videos of her doing lip syncs and her performances in general, and I totally agree with you. She is, I hope anyway, in for the kill when it comes to lip syncs. And I mean, we may not necessarily see a pattern with her of being in the bottom because of this week so far just wasn't her week. And I mean, I'm hoping in future weeks she'll start picking it up and learning from the critiques that she's getting. And I think it was just a case of editing with that, but I think definitely she will be the one to watch. And we've seen that in the promo as well with the lip sync assassin. She's the main point of the final promo for the show when she floats up into that death drop. I don't think they just give that to any queen. I definitely think they're hinting at a lip sync assassin as well.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you there. But definitely from me, that is a Morty Vicker.
Morty Vicker from me too.
Right, so next up, well, I'm dreading this one. We have Gothy Kendall. Do you know what? I absolutely love this queen's looks on Instagram. She looks amazing. Her promo look was amazing. I know she says that she's only a DJ host and she doesn't really perform, but that walk into the workroom, it was very stagnant. It was very stiff. It was like she was terrified. I understand there's nerves and everything, but girl, this is season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK. You know what you're walking into. But I don't want to say stagnant, but it was very stiff. It was like a rabbit in a headlights. I feel really sorry for her.
Yeah, definitely. She was very, I mean, it's difficult because I really did like the look that she brought, and I thought it was one of my favourites out of the entrance looks. But the way she sold it, it's definitely a case of, I think she walked past those doors and saw the cameras and didn't know what to do with herself. And I mean, it reminded me of when James Mansfield entered the workroom, and I don't like comparing the queens, but that's what it made me think of, because we saw her have that edit of she's walked into the workroom and then she's sort of
froze,
hanging about and not knowing what to do. And I think we definitely saw that with Gothy Kendall as well.
So yeah, you said you actually liked the look, and do you know what? I didn't. I loved the colour and I loved the concept. I get it where she was coming from. She said she was traveling, so she was trying to do like an elegant tracksuit. But if you look underneath, she was wearing like a corset and stockings and leggings. Not leggings, sorry, suspenders and that. She could have done so much more. She could have turned that around. She could have made that into a tearaway. I've seen some of her Instagram photos where she looks very sexual, very dominatrix. She could have done all that, walking with that first look, turned around and teared away that to show the real Gothy Kendall. I think that would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do think that there was a level that she could have brought to it with, say, a reveal that she could have utilised to make her entrance more prominent, let's say. But then I think with the look that she brought, I think that it was just enough to show what she is. I mean, later in the show, she quoted and said something like, "I'm a turning look and looking pretty queen." And I definitely think her entrance look reflected that. But I do agree with you. It did have a level to it that could have been a reveal.
Yeah, definitely. I don't. For me, it's gonna have to be a next. She could have done so much more for it. What? I don't know what you're gonna say though, Wilma.
I mean, it's more T Vicar from me because I do like the look, but there is still bits, as you brought up, that could have been worked on.
Yeah, definitely. So next up we have Scaredy Cat. Well. With this queen, do you know what? When I first saw her, I wasn't sure on her because, yes, she's a bedroom queen. But do you know what? She was wearing all pink in her promo look, when she was on Manchester Pride floats, when she was at DragCon. It was all that purple cuddly toy look. And do you know what? I didn't like it. But coming into the workroom, it was different. It was still there, but it wasn't the same as before, was it really?
Yeah.
But do you know what? This look sort of gave the same sort of vibe. It weren't as pink, but it was still like a fluffy sort of look, like a cuddly toy. But her makeup, I get it. She comes across very tricksy makeup for me, but that's just, I'm not sure on it really. But my thing is, I really do think that the queens are really going to underestimate her. I think they need to watch out with her because I think she's got a lot more to offer than they realise. Yes, she's only been doing drag for 11 months. She's not performed. She's not been on stage. She's not used to the crowd. But you know what? I've got a very, very strange feeling that she is going to surprise them. And she is the underdog, but I think she's going to be shocked. But the one thing we need to talk about is she's a straight queen.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm sure she's bisexual. I've read online, I think. They definitely played it in the first episode that she was straight, though, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely they did. But I'm sure, if I'm thinking correctly, is this the first straight queen that's actually been announced as being a straight queen or come out on stage as a straight queen?
No, I think it's definitely the first one that the sort of storyline around that has been talked about because with the US show, they're quite conservative in a way, if you even can be on Drag Race. And they don't tend to talk about that too much, whereas now I think they've learnt from that and they're thinking, on this one, we're going to discuss the sexuality because in this case, the heterosexuality that they're playing with in this first episode isn't the norm for Drag Race.
No, absolutely. And do you know what thing I love? What was it she said? Wasn't her girlfriend's name Pussycat or something?
Yeah.
And do you know what? I absolutely love that. I actually need to do some research. I think it's fantastic how they are together and they don't care. They're supportive of each other. I need to search for this Pussycat. I need to see what her drag aesthetic is like. That would be very interesting. And it's brilliant to see this because it's something in the community that we've never seen before. Yes, we have our faux queens. We have our bi queens. You have your... and all that. And it's something different. It's something nice to see. But with this, I'm really looking forward to this queen, to seeing what she brings to the runway. And you'll see when we talk later about it, she brings a different element when she gets to the main stage. But for me, this is definitely a Morty Vicar.
Yeah, me too. Morty Vicar. I really did enjoy the look. I mean, there's parts of the makeup that I personally didn't fancy, like the nose contour per se wasn't really my favorite, especially the edges and the shape of it.
Yeah.
But then everyone has their own style, and I mean, I'm not one to judge someone else's makeup. It just personally wasn't my favorite, but definitely Morty Vicar from me.
Absolutely. So right, next up, let's go on to the next queen. It's the one, the only, it's Vinegar Strokes. Do you know what? I absolutely loved this look. The whole outfit was absolutely amazing. The way she walked in with it, she owned it. And what was it? I think it was leopard print, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, I loved it because it was so cohesive. It went well together. She had the leopard print. It fitted her perfectly. And at first I looked at it and I thought, why the hell is she wearing red shoes? And then I looked closer, like, hang on, no. She thought this through very, very cleverly because she had red trimming down the sides of her. She had a red jewellery, red makeup, red nails, red necklace, and it all went really well. And it all played to her style as well. So that very London-y, Cockney, Broadway sort of style, that came through very strong. And it suited her really, really well. And do you know what? Even though we haven't got to the final queen yet, which is the Vivienne who's up next, do you know what? This is my favourite look. This is the #1 workroom entrance. She played it very well. It worked to her character. So the Vinegar Strokes, well done to you, my dear.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It was my personal favourite look from the entrance looks. I mean, the producers and editors definitely knew that Vinegar was going to be, that the fans were going to like Vinegar's look because they did that blur filter when she entered the room and they had something wrong, like sort of screaming about her entering. And I mean, it just really worked. She knew how to shape it to her body. And I know that the pads were definitely over exaggerated, but it really worked for her. And her entrance line, oh my gosh, it was just so funny.
What did she say again? Because you know what? I've completely forgotten.
She was like, I didn't become a little bit of a slag. I became a total
slag. Yeah, it was just totally brilliant, weren't it? I'm not a little bit of slag. I'm a total slag. But it was done in that pure Cockney accent, which was absolutely fantastic. The way it came across, just amazing. But one thing I didn't understand is, why did Davina read her hair? I thought the hair actually worked really well.
It did. It really did work. I thought it looked good. And rewatching it, I thought exactly the same again. I thought, why are you reading her for her wig? It's nice and it looks good with both the look and on Vinegar. I didn't understand it.
I think what she was reading it for is that it was a hard front wig and it wasn't a lace front wig. But do you know what? It worked for her. Vinegar knew what she was doing. So on my behalf, do you know what? She's the #1 for the workroom and Morty Vicar from me.
Oh yeah, same from me because it was just, it blew it out of the park for me. It was really, really a good look.
Yeah, absolutely. So, right, next up, let's jump straight into the final queen in the workroom. It's the one, it's the only, the UK ambassador. It's the Vivienne. But you know what? I am a little bit biased to say this on every podcast. I love this queen. Do you know what? I've been following her for years. I think me and my partner have been together 8 years or so. And I think it was around that time I started following her. And do you know what? She's absolutely amazing. It's fantastic watching her grow and flourish and become who the person she is now. And do you know what? I actually remember watching her on UK Drag Race Ambassador. I was actually at work at the time. And do you know what? I remember I was sad. I cried my little eyes out when she won because I was so proud of her. She worked so hard for it and she's done amazing. But that outfit, do you know what? I know exactly who that's by. It's by the one and only Ben Mark. Absolutely amazing designer on this. And some people don't actually realise that Ben Mark, I don't know if you knew yourself as well, Wilma, that he actually created quite a lot of the costumes for Spice Girls The Tour. He done a lot of the dancers' outfits, and he actually really brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he knows exactly how to work Vivienne's body, what goes well with her, how to style her, and he has done an amazing job. I absolutely love that red metallic fabric, as Cheryl said, wipe away. So like, everything in this outfit worked absolutely brilliant. The wipe away dress, as Cheryl Hole called it, the makeup was perfect. The look, her position, her walk into the workroom. She knows how to earn a stage. My only concern was that wig. I know Viv styles her wigs, but it just looked not 100% polished. It seemed like it was like been knocked and it had become messy.
Yeah, I mean, the wig wasn't the best part of the look for me. I think it did work with the look, and if she had gone with big hair just like Bagger, it wouldn't have made the look as good as it is. But I do agree, the wig, it could have been even just like adding a bit more teasing or a bit more hairspray to it, then that would have just kept it in place a bit more. And we see in the mini challenge a bit more that like strands of it are flopping about, and that is one bit that just, because we know that she's a polished queen and we know that she's going to be here to stay and fight, but that is just one of the things that I thought, is she as polished as she makes out? And we know that she is, but you have to edit it and think about these little things like the hair being structured.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I loved about her is that she was so genuine. It's like she knows she's UK Drag Race ambassador, but she threw that out there. She turned around and said, I'm not getting no special treatment. I'm being judged the same as you. And the way she turned around and described it, that competition was a bar competition and this is the big game, was brilliant. If anything, do you know what I think is going to happen? I actually think Michelle and Rue are actually going to be slightly harder on her because she has had that title before. So
Definitely. I mean, we have seen it in the past when because with the American show now, the queens who go on there are already big. I mean, Dusty Ray Bottoms, for example, was big before she went on there. And I mean, we are seeing more often than not the judges being harsher with certain queens like Willem per se, because they already know what they can do and they have to apply it to the competition. And I think with the Vivienne, we might see this sort of edit where she will have harsher critiques from the judges because of this, and I think it's a good thing, to be honest.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm totally looking forward to it because I know full well that she will slay this competition 100%. So for me, it's definitely 100% more T Vicker.
Yeah, me too. More T Vicker from me.
Right, okay, let's quickly run through the mini challenges. Right, so the theme was off with her head. And you know what? I absolutely loved this. It was absolutely brilliant the way they done this. Bagger had me in absolute stitches where she's on the floor and she's got her legs open saying, oh, can you see me tuppence?
Oh.
Then we had the Vivienne with her bit. I absolutely loved it. She done it absolutely amazing. Do you know what? I loved her impression of Kim Woodburn.
Oh, I love that Kim Woodburn made an appearance on the episode in the form of the Vivienne. Oh my gosh, I couldn't stop laughing.
Then, of course, next up we had Gothy Kendall. Well, sorry, love, this completely flopped completely.
Yeah.
Even with Rue asking her 3 times for more energy, it still and completely, utterly flopped.
Yeah.
Next up is Scaredy Cat. Do you know what? This completely and utterly surprised me that she won this challenge.
I know, I agree. I mean, I was sat there watching it and I thought, oh yeah, Rue is laughing at these queens in a good way. I mean, she was laughing at Gothy as well, but we all know why that was. But she was laughing with some of the queens, and I thought, yeah, this could be, they could win, or this person could win. It never actually crossed my mind, really, that Scaredy Cat would have won the mini challenge, because, I mean, RuPaul just said the BBC line, and then it went on to the next person. I definitely thought there were other queens that Rue had more of a reaction to.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I'm looking forward to all the other mini challenges on this. I'm looking forward to what the other queens can offer, what they can bring. But you know what? I'm sorry. I don't think Scaredy Cat should have won that. It should have been Bagger, or it should have been the Vivian in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, okay, so let's go straight into the runway. The 2 challenges, 2 in 1 looks it was this. They had to portray themselves as themselves in their hometown, and then they had to do a Queen Elizabeth themed runway. So we started off with, of course, Crystal. Do you know what? I can't actually remember what Crystal was wearing.
Blue dress that said 3-day bender on the front with her pearl wig.
Do you know what? I absolutely loved this image. The pearl necklace was absolutely, the pearl headdress was absolutely brilliant. I loved the actual dress. It was really flowy and really nice. One of the things I wish she would have done though is just added that pearl necklace. I think that would have captivated it a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I didn't like the look. I've never been a huge fan of dresses that have big words on the front. I think that it brings the illusion of a dress away from the look.
Yeah.
And I think that with the mix of the pearl wig, and I liked where she was going with it. I liked it definitely showed where she was from and the inspiration, but I just didn't like, it wasn't cohesive all throughout for me. And I can see why it was a good look, and I can see why other people enjoyed it, but personally, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. See, I think we've got a lot more to wait and see what we're going to get from Crystal, especially with her aerial artist and her cabaret act. But one of the things that I didn't quite understand is on the dress she had this, when she walked out, she had this jacket across her shoulders. It didn't fit in with the dress, did it really? I don't think it did.
I mean, I think that was just like more of a Cockney reference, I guess. Oh, I'm not too sure really.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's go on to Cheryl Hole. Do you know what? I absolutely loved this look. She went for the complete Essex girl look. I loved the fact that she had the white stilettos, all white, the toilet paper on the heel, and of course the fake tan. That it was just brilliant. It read true to an Essex girl. It's what we see out in the streets. I'm used to seeing it back in my hometown.
It was definitely a really good look. I loved it. And I also loved it because it was sort of showing that the distinction in Drag Race UK, as we've seen with other queens in the same competition as well, because it was taking the piss a bit, and it was still polished, but the theme around it, like she had the tan marks on the dress, and I just don't think you could have done this look in any other Drag Race competition. Every other one has to be polished, and I mean in recent seasons we've seen less polished queens performing, and this look was still polished, but it just showed that this series is taking a different turn for Drag Race, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely showing our Drag Race humour.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to Something Wrong. I loved this look. Birmingham, she done the Birmingham Ball. It looked absolutely fantastic. It went with the whole look, the horns, the nose ring was fantastic, and even down to the boobies, they were amazing. And do you know what? It all was cohesive. That gold chocolatey dress, that looked absolutely fantastic. And do you know what? She pulled that off absolutely amazing.
Yeah, at first I didn't like the bull ring look, but I think that's because it was so out there and unexpected for me. I mean, she had those giant horns on, and I couldn't help but just laugh. I found it so amusing. And then I watched it back, and the look was really realized, and she knew what hair would go with those horns and what dress would go with the rest of the look. And I definitely think that she pulled it off, and you could tell what she was representing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to more from Something Wrong. Anyway, next up, let's move on to Blue Hydrangea. Do you know what? I absolutely love that look. The colour of it, the black with the gold. Oh, I absolutely fell in love with this. The yellow, it was amazing. Do you know what? Where she placed the lace up towards the top and on our hips, it was placed correctly. It really cinched her. It added that to it. Her makeup was flawless. The cranes on her back were absolutely brilliant, representing her hometown of Belfast. And do you know what? She pulled this off and executed it 100%. I think it was a feather boa she had or something.
I know she had ostrich feathers
Yeah.
in the dress. I'm not sure if she did have a boa with her. I can't remember.
Yeah, she had an ostrich boa with her. And do you know what? I don't actually think she needed that. I think it was a bit too much. Because she was carrying it around like a bit of extra fabric. Like, oh, I'm just going to bring it with me. But I'm really looking forward to her. I think she's going to bring some looks and some things that we have never seen before. Her Instagram is amazing, so I'm really, really holding my hopes up for Blue Hydrangea. I think if I had to give her any critique at all, it would to do with the cranes in the back. Where she turned around, you could really see him. They needed to be more secure. They were waving around too much. If she would have secured it with like a back harness and had dripping lace down the back, I think that would have worked a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. The execution of the cranes could have been a bit better, but I do think that when you have these big back pieces that go taller than your hair goes, you always run the risk of it looking unproportionalized.
Yeah.
And I definitely think she knew, especially compared to her entrance look, she knew how to sort of bring out the waist a bit more and bring out the bottom so that it matched the cranes at the top. And it always reminds me of the J. Jolie line, like the shoulders should match them hips. And I think in this case, the cranes did actually match the rest of the body, which is relatively hard to do. And I think she pulled it off well.
Yeah, she pulled it off amazingly. So next up we have the one, the only, it's Bag of Chips, MBE, of course. I love exactly where she was going with this look. She was giving us that old Amy Winehouse look, playing true to like Camden. And what she was doing was giving that like walk of shame look. So like when you've had a one night stand and you regret it, you're walking home with only one heel on, eyelash missing, mascara's all over your face. But my only concern with her is I've got a feeling she's going to get read by Michelle Visage very soon, due to the fact is that she plays a character very well. But I think we're going to have issues where Michelle's going to read her for not showing the true bagger like Ben de la Creme.
I mean, it's definitely finding the distinction between bagger as a drag queen and a character. But then I do think that sometimes that character, you do just find yourself, the characters you build and that bagger has built, I do find that that's just part of her, and it's just an elevation of that. And I think ultimately it could be her downfall, or it could be the best thing about the show overall. I mean, we did see it with Laganja, that she was talking the Yes Mama TT Kiki, yeah. And then she didn't have a good experience on the show, and we haven't really seen a huge amount from her since in terms of Drag Race. And I think that Becca, if she does get read for having too much of a character like Ben de la Creme, I think she'll either carry on with it or crumble, and it could be ultimately her end on the show, or it could be the best part of it.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, let's move on. We'll go on to the Vivian next. So she done Pete Burns, and it read absolutely brilliant to her hometown look of Liverpool. She done this amazing. She looked fantastic. The face looked like Pete, the tartan, the shoes. I think I agree with let's try again. I think I agree with Michelle. If it weren't for that she was playing a character and they knew what she was playing, I think she would have got read big time for wearing those flat shoes. But hey ho.
I did like the look, but I disagree with the flats comment. I don't think flats matter, and I think this is sort of a cultural difference between American and UK Drag Race, because in the American Drag Race we've seen them when they've worn flats, or smaller heels, they've been red straight away for it. But I think over in Britain, you sort of get stuck in, and if your look needs flats, then flats is what you're going to wear, sort of thing. And I mean, a heel is always going to elevate a look, but I just think that the flats did work for the look, and I just think flats, I don't get the hate on flats. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
No, I see where you're coming from. We have that image that we've been portrayed that all queens must wear heels. But hey ho, this is UK, it's different. Let's move straight on then to the vinegar. The vinegar? Let's try again. I got Vivian and vinegar mixed up there. So vinegar strokes is next. Well, what can I say about this? I didn't get it. I was the same as Michelle. I thought that blue line was a snake. I really did not get this look. It's like the actual dress itself was gorgeous, that chocolatey brown sort of colour. But I didn't get the snake across, well, the water meant to be the Thames. I didn't get the thing in the head meant to be, I think it was Clapham, she said, or Camden. I didn't get how the thing lower down was Peckham. It didn't make sense to me. It wasn't that polished. It didn't scream what I was trying to get from her.
In my opinion, it was just a two-piece with some cardboard across the front of it and a wig. Yeah. Honestly, I don't mind saying that, because ultimately that is what it is. And she could have, I mean, if she was going to do the Thames, she could have come out in a gown that was completely blue with landmarks over it.
Yes.
Or 2 landmarks on the shoulders, just to elevate it that bit more. But we already saw the two-piece that she was wearing in the entrance look. And I have to say, that was better than the runway look. And I just don't think it was a realized look on her part. It was just a two-piece with a blue line.
Yeah, I completely agree. So next up, let's move swiftly on. We're moving on to Scaredy Cat. Do you know what? I absolutely love this look. It was something completely different to what we've seen on the Meet the Queens to New York's Drag Con. It was very woodland, very earthy, very twiggy. And do you know what? I absolutely loved it. She said she lives out in the sticks in the middle of nowhere. And do you know what? She portrayed that, and it worked really well. It's very earthy, very dirty. And she done really well on this look.
Yeah, I loved this look. And I think even though it was different to like the city looks and the cranes and the Thames, I definitely saw the British influence. I mean, I can see like people walking through the woods wearing those style clothes, not necessarily with all the sticks over them, because that was where the drag came in, but like the patchy jacket, and it just was very British to me, and I really did like it.
See, it gave me very let's say the planet vibes. But anyway, let's move swiftly on. The next up is Divina De Campo. Do you know what? This really gave me Pantomime Dame vibes.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote down in my notes Panto Dame. It wasn't my favourite. I did like the wig, actually.
Foam wig,
it was... I mean, we over here use foam wigs quite a lot, especially in pantomimes. But then I think there was just some bits about it that I didn't like the trumpets on the boobs. I didn't get them. And I understand she had like the Yorkshire pudding on the head and the tea, but it just, I had high expectations for her from seeing her on TV before and other projects that she's done. And I think the only part of this look that really was realised was the wig. And the only reason that is because she said in the confessionals, I did get influence from Panto Dames, and that's the only part that I could see of it. I didn't like the dress that much, and the trumpets I just did not get.
Yeah, nor did I. Right, okay, let's move on. So next, what they done is they moved on and done the Queen Elizabethan theme.
You forgot Gothy.
Oh, I'm going to get red for Phil for that, but it just shows you really, doesn't it, that her look wasn't that memorable. I forgot about Gothy. I am so sorry, Gothy Kendall. But really, what was she wearing? It was like a black catsuit with her face painted like a child. I get it that she's from Leicester and she was trying to give the Tigers and the red Leicester with the colouring, but it did not interest me at all.
It really wasn't. I just wrote in my notes, no. That's all I wrote.
But like Alan Carr said, it was like an estate agent that gone down to the park, got her face painted for 50p, and went back to the office team and said, "Oh, what do you think? Rah." But anyway, let's move swiftly on. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Elizabethan themes with the runway. So let's move straight on. What we're going to do is I'm going to explain what the Queens are wearing, and we're going to do Morty Vicar or next. So first up, we're going to talk about Crystal. She went with this like uniform soldier look that the Queen would wear on a special occasion, like when she's on a horseback or something. It looked absolutely amazing. The medals, the black tight leggings. It was spot on, the hat. So for me, this is definitely a Morty Vicar.
Yeah, same from me, because of it was really good. I found it more inspired from the other people's looks. I mean, she had the cohesive Queen Elizabeth look, which we hadn't really seen Queen Elizabeth do much before. And then she had her own makeup with it, which I thought
worked
definitely...
Really well.
Yeah, done really well with that eye makeup. So next up, let's move straight on to Cheryl Hole. Right, so Cheryl went with this pink coat with the gown. Well, not gown, sorry, with the dress. She was trying to give that walking around the Palace Gardens with Trump or whoever. And it just didn't read well. Michelle read her for not having a bag, and we all know the reason why the Queen has a bag, it's for security reasons. It depending what she does with it, her guards know what to do. So
it's a next from me. I mean, she said that she sort of like bouged it up with the pearls and stuff, but I agree with what the Vivian said. It's a pink coat. And when they went into the sort of mini untucked bit, she said, "Damn this pink hat." And I thought, it's not the hat that brought your downfall. It's because you didn't have a purse. And like, you didn't necessarily notice it when she first walked out. You just thought, oh, there's something missing. And then as soon as Michelle mentioned it, I was like, yeah, that's what was missing, because of when you see the Queen, you see her purse that she's holding as well.
Right, so next up, we're going to move on to something wrong. This look, the stamp was iconic. This is going to be a legendary moment. She portrayed this absolutely amazing. So tongue-in-cheek, so wink-wink, nudge-nudge. But do you know what? She portrayed it. It's a Morty Vicar for me.
Yeah, Morty Vicar for me as well. It was amazing. So unexpected as well. I thought when we were doing Queen Elizabeth looks, I knew that they were going to do the picture of Queen Elizabeth and then the comparison to the Queen, but I never expected like the stamp to come out. I mean, it's not a Queen Elizabeth look, but I mean, I guess it is really, and it was just so funny. And all I have to say about that is, lick me.
Anyway, let's move straight on. We're going to move on to Blue Hydrangea. This look was amazing. She came out in this lovely flowy dress, but her head was the pound coin. She split her head in half. It was iconic. Even the fine details in coloration leading up to the body. She started as bronze with the pennies on her top. Then she went up to silver and to the gold to the head. This is an absolute Morty Vicar for me.
Morty Vicar for me as well. I mean, it was such a good look and another good unexpected idea. I mean, it's taken a look we haven't seen from the Queen because of it's literally a £2 coin and making it work for the runway. And it was just a level of detail. Like you said, the pennies on the dress, it just made it all work for me, definitely.
So right, next up, we go on to Bagger, and I'd have to agree with Michelle with this one. What Bag had done is that coat, it looked more like a quilt, and she was trying to portray the 70s Elizabeth, but she looked more 70s. I love Bagger to bits, but Bagger, I think you utterly failed on this one. It didn't come across as much as you wanted. I know where you're going, but sorry, it will have to be a next from me.
I have mixed feelings, and I'll have to sit on the fence about this one, I guess, because I did like the look, and I really did actually quite like the jacket. And then I did agree with Michelle about she looks 70 years old, but then the picture they showed of the Queen as well, she looks relatively old there. I mean, Bagger did elevate how old she looked, yeah. But then it's an inspired challenge. So if they wanted to have a direct copy of it, then all the queens would be red who did the stamp and the pound, because of they aren't actually the queen, whereas I think Bagger was just taking the inspiration and making it her own. However, I do agree, she did go hardcore with the elderly makeup.
Yeah, exactly. So, right, let's jump straight into it. Next, it's the Vivienne. She done absolutely amazing. Do you know what? Michelle had me in stitches. You wearing prosthetics? No, I'm not. That's not a prosthetic nose. No, that's my real nose. I was dying with laughter with this one. I was crying. She portrayed the queen round her castle going hunting with ducks on it. The tartan, it looked brilliant. So for me, it is definitely Morty Vicker.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's Morty Vicker for me because again, it's the flats thing that gets me. I mean, she was wearing the wellies because of the look that the queen was doing. She was wearing wellies. I mean, what do they want her to do? Make some welly heels? I don't understand the like stigma around the flats, but it worked for the look, and I mean, it paid off clearly. But the nose thing,
yeah, 100%.
Right, so next up, let's jump straight into it. It's Vinegar Strokes. Do you know what? This yellow dress with the massive pearls, it didn't pay off, babes. It really didn't. It will have to be a next from me on this one.
No, it was. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best. It was definitely like party store vibes from me. Yeah. I mean, like sort of pre-bought costume, which then came out on the judges panel when Michelle said you could have at least ironed it as well. I agreed with her because of that made it look more like costume store. Like, I don't know, I just didn't like the look, so it's a next from me.
Right, okay, let's move straight on then to Goffy Kendall. I didn't get this look. I know what she was trying to go for. She was trying to go for that Elizabethan dress. It didn't pay off. She looked very tense, very nervous walking the runway still. She didn't know where she wanted to go, what she wanted to do. It's a next from me.
I thought it was a petticoat with a nude top and a sash. Yeah. That's it. I mean, there was so much more she could have done with this. And I think they said in the episode, this is the queen that we see in the TV series The Crown.
Yeah.
And I thought, no way would I ever have made that connection because of it was just a petticoat with a new top, and I just did not like it one bit. It's an next from me.
And an next from me as well. So, right, we're going to move straight on to Davina De Campo. I like this look. It gave me that blue royal, like, judge's robe, but it wasn't. It was very cohesive. It was nice. It read very, very much Victorian. But my only concern is what was with the reveal. I didn't understand what the reveal had to do with Queen Elizabeth. Would you really see her wearing that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good look, and I absolutely loved it. She definitely made herself older, but not in the way that Bagger did. She didn't do it with her makeup. She just had the grey wig. And I mean, we all know Queen Elizabeth. She's always had her grey hair. Well, not always, but in her more recent... Yeah. And I really liked it. I do agree with you. The reveal didn't tie in well for me, but then I thought it's a nice reveal. I think that's what got her safe as opposed to the win, because if she hadn't have revealed that, I feel like she would have been top.
Yes. 100%.
Or the winner.
Yeah, exactly. So, right, let's move straight into Scaredy Cat. Do you know what? I absolutely love this look. She really thought about this. She thought, no, I'm going to go further back than everyone else. I'm going to be the queen as a young child. And do you know what? She played it off really well. She'd done it as her, which tied in even better. So, Scaredy Cat, you outdone yourself this week. So, it's definitely a Morty Vicker from me.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't my favourite look, but she was making fun of herself and making fun of the drag stereotypes. I mean, she said, I'm a baby queen, so I'm going to play the baby queen. Like, it made me laugh. And while it wasn't my favourite, it was one of my tops because it was being a bit like meta and saying, yeah, there's this thing about baby queens, and I'm going to turn it on its head and use it for this Queen Elizabeth challenge.
Yep, so right, let's round this off. Let's talk about the main stage. So, overall, the winner was the Vivian. She won this challenge this week. I think she deserved it. What about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she done all her queen look was spot on. It's brilliant, the guard. Then we had her doing the Pete Burns. That was spot on. So well done, the Vivian. You won this week's challenge. So next up, we're going to look at the bottom two, which was Gothy Kendall and the Vinegar Strokes. Was it the right two to be there?
Yeah.
100% I agree with you. I think it definitely was. But unfortunately, with that lip sync, Vinegar slayed at that lip sync. She played it. She was comical. She was fun. So unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to Gothy Kendall, which is a shame because I really would have loved to see a lot more from her. From what I've seen of Instagram, I think she could have done more.
The decision was made from the outset. I mean, from the beginning, we knew that Gothy was going to, if she didn't go home this episode, she wasn't going to place very far in the competition, which sounds bad to say, but the edit she was getting already showed that. And I mean, she just didn't bring it for me. And I totally agree with the judge's decision to eliminate her.
Yeah, but I'm really hoping to see more from her. I'm hoping this steps her game up and she realises what she needs to do. But of course, next week's episode, it's some sitcom. I didn't catch it. I weren't looking.
Yeah, it's Downton Draggy, I believe, is the name.
That's going to be absolutely brilliant. I really do think Bagger is going to do well in this challenge. I also think Vinegar probably can do quite well because of her Broadway side. The Vivian is going to do very well as well. I'm really looking forward to next week's episode and I'm hoping they come more out of their shell. And you know what, Wilma Dickfit, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Thank you for having me. I've had a really good time.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Wilma. It's been amazing having you here. As Wilma shuts the door behind her, let's finish off. Thank you guys for tuning in to God Save the Tea. Don't forget, if you can watch this on any platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Google Podcasts, YouTube, we're out there everywhere. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you're following on YouTube. And why not come over if you're not? It's in our page on Facebook. Search for God Save the Tea. Give us a like to keep up to date. But until next time, see you later, my sugar cubes, and have fun.